Hi there guys, my name is Jacob and welcome back to the channel. Now last week I posted a video titled Don't Delay Retirement, and in that video I shared a story about someone I know who sadly passed away at the age of 64 and never got to experience even one day of retirement. And the reason for that is they chose to keep working even though he could afford to retire. His wife retired at 60 and her hope was that he was going to retire at 60 with her, but he didn't. He chose to keep working for whatever reason, and I'm sure he had his reasons, but he thought he had more time and that he could carry on working, and then one day he would retire and they'd spend the rest of their years together. But as I said in that video, that day never came. And I think this story connected with a lot of my viewers because you guys have left a lot of comments on that video and you have shared a lot of your own experiences with this topic. A lot of the stories I'm going to share with you today are from the viewers. I've picked the 10 best comments that were left on that video. And to be honest, the comments are still coming in. So I apologise if I haven't picked your comment, but these are just the 10 that I have right now. But I'm going to share them with you today. These are real experiences. So this should hopefully just kind of hammer home the importance of not delaying retirement. Right then, here's the first comment from Mary. I'm 57. My sister-in-law died last January. She was exactly my age and was 3 months away from making the last mortgage payment. To her credit, she lived well while she could, travelling and doing the things she loved. But that, along with just a few months later my mother dying too, has caused me to move my retirement plans forward by about 2 years. I'm done at the end of this year, 184 days to be exact. What I have will be enough. There's always a financial case for keeping going, but by every other measure, it's a bad idea to work longer than is necessary. Mancunian in London says, I've seen this happen a lot in my lifetime. The first time I saw this happen was to my manager when I was just 21. He was 65 when he decided to retire. However, he died just 6 months after retiring. He could have retired earlier as he was very wealthy. So that struck me at the time as a great shame. I am now in middle age and I keep seeing this same situation play out over and over. I retired last year when I was 53, and since then I have had 6 wonderful holidays and hopefully I will have many more. I'm going to Thailand next month and I'm going back to the Caribbean in November. My advice is to retire while you are young enough and able to enjoy it. I pulled the pin last year at 53 and I am loving it. I am never bored. I fill my days with walking in the Lake District, going to the gym, sauna, swimming and having many holidays a year, and I have no regrets. I do not miss my workplace and I am glad to be enjoying my new life the way I want to enjoy it. Private Guy says, I retired from driving at 63. When I was about 60, there were 2 drivers who had reached their retirement age, but they both decided to carry on and share a shift. One guy did it because he enjoyed the banter at work. He didn't need the money as he was well off. He used to talk about his up and coming holidays and one to Australia where he was going to do one of those train trips across the country as he was a bit of a train enthusiast. Anyway, after one of his shifts, he said he was going to go and see a doctor because he'd been having a bit of trouble with his stomach. But unfortunately, just 3 weeks later, he died. This made me retire early, and my only regret is that I didn't do it earlier. I must admit, I was a bit reluctant to retire. I kept extending it because I thought I might miss work. But believe me, I did not. Not one bit. And like I say, the only regret I have is that I did not do it sooner. At Mudbath60 says, I am 64. I have worked in the car industry all my life and I had been wondering whether to retire. Until one day at work, a man who was just 52 had a heart attack and died on the line. I handed my notice in just 2 weeks later and it is the best thing I've ever done. No more swollen hands, no more swollen feet, sciatic problems gone, and the best of all, no more shift work. Catherine Shaw says, I am 65 and will be working until 66, which is when I will receive my state pension. My brother passed away suddenly at 60 years old within just 1 month of a cancer diagnosis. He was a very hard worker and I am thankful he travelled a lot during his life. Cherry Bell says, a friend of mine recently passed away at only 56 years old last month, having been diagnosed with lung and brain cancer only 7 weeks prior. She and her GP just thought it was a simple chest infection. We all need to remember that tomorrow is not promised to any of us. I only retired last year at age 56. I had planned to work another year, but a surprise but very welcome enhanced redundancy appeared out of nowhere and made the decision easy for me. Work had become a political nightmare in the office with zero work-life balance. Constant demands from senior management. I count my lucky stars that I could afford to retire, as I have been very sensible with my money from my very first job. Please never take tomorrow for granted. Paul Cowell said, I retired at 55 8 years ago and I have not regretted a single day. I just can't comprehend the mind frame of someone that can afford to retire but doesn't. Some people obviously believe they are going to be in good health forever. This seems nuts to me. The real question we should all be asking ourselves is, how can I afford not to retire? My Active Retirement said, this video really made me think about my own situation. I am 63 and after having a cataract operation and a full hip replacement this year, it got me thinking that we just don't know what tomorrow will bring, or even if tomorrow will arrive. I have to give 5 months notice to ensure that my pension will be paid immediately after I retire. My plan was to give it this Christmas and retire in May when I hit 64. But now, after watching this video, I think I may just hand it in and finish in October. Glenn Mason said, this situation happens a lot, unfortunately. I was advised by my dad when I was younger to retire as soon as you can afford to. He retired at 58 and lived until he was 96. I have also retired at 58 as well. Your most active retirement years are between 60 and 70. Don't waste them working. And the last comment of the video, but I think a really important one, is from Appleman UK. And he said, learn a language, learn to play a musical instrument, write a book, learn to cook, read the 100 greatest novels ever written, or do something other than work to stimulate the brain. I am still working, but when I reach 65, in just 1 more year and a bit, I hope I can execute my plan to become a better musician by having the time to practice. And I think that last comment is a very important factor of when you are considering retiring, because you can't just simply retire to nothing. That is when people get bored and people waste their time. We need to plan ahead. And when we're thinking about retiring, we need to think how we're going to spend our time. Now, that can be with friends and family, or as Appleman said, it can be doing a range of different hobbies and passions. But whatever it is, think about it, plan ahead, and know what you're going to do after work. A lot of people tie their identity to their jobs. And as soon as they retire, they lose that sense of purpose because they are not the job that they have always done. They are retired now. But if you have a passion or a hobby that you can sink your time into and really spend time mastering it, then that is giving you purpose and gives you excitement for every day that comes. And soon enough, you'll forget all about work. It will just be a memory, something you look back on and hopefully look back on fondly. But you'll be in the next stage of your life and you will be loving retirement. But I hope these comments in this video just show you how precious life is. And really, do you want to be spending your last days working and never experiencing retirement? because a lot of these comments have shown that it happens to a lot of people. It's more common than you might think to never actually see retirement. We all say just one more year and I'll retire. But what if next year doesn't come? I think it's really important we give a lot of thought to that. And maybe if you can afford to retire, maybe think about executing that plan and retiring sooner rather than later. Right then, guys, I'll leave this video there. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and there is a link down below for if you would like to leave me a little tip. It's called Buy Me a Coffee. And if you do, I would be incredibly appreciative. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.